All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Caroline Charles, Community Relations Coordinator for the Planning Commission. Thanks so much for attending the virtual public meeting today to discuss the proposed updates to the One Water Comprehensive Planning for Water Resources section for the Tampa Comprehensive Plan. We look forward to hearing all of your questions and comments right after the presentation. And there's two different ways you can comment. You can either write questions and comments in the chat or question box, or you can select the raise hand button and we will unmute you so that you can speak. I do want to mention that this presentation is being recorded and we'll upload it to the One Water project page about a day or two after this meeting. So with that, I would like to introduce our presenter, Melissa Dickens. She is the Strategic Planning and Policy Manager for the Planning Commission.
Thanks so much, Caroline. I appreciate that introduction. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and I will ask Diego to go ahead and share the presentation on his screen, please. And we appreciate everyone's patience as we get this up and going. Okay. Again, thanks for joining us this evening. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedules, your families, to learn more about this project and what we're working on. This is the public engagement kickoff for One Water Comprehensive Planning for Water Resources. Next slide. The presentation will cover a few different topics this evening. We're going to start out with an introduction and overview of the comprehensive plan. We're going to talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan update and where we are in the process, speak to the recently adopted vision and how that is moving forward as part of One Water. We also will be sharing some different ways to get involved in this process, share the next steps and the meetings that'll be coming up, and share different ways for you to share your input and feedback. And the draft language and all of the other related documents are available at planhillsborough.org/Tampa One Water. You can also get there through the One Water project page, and that is accessed via livegrowthrive2045.com. And we appreciate you joining us for this kickoff to the public and stakeholder engagement phase. This phase of the comprehensive plan update for the One Water section will run until October 9th. Next slide, please. Before we delve into the presentation, we also want to say thank you very much to our city partners on this project. The Planning Commission is the agency that's responsible for developing and updating the comprehensive plan, and we work very closely with our partners at the city to ensure that the comprehensive plan is implementable and coordinated. So we wanted to say thank you to all the folks from these various departments who have been involved in helping us with this document, and a few of them are on hand this evening if there are any technical questions. Next slide. And so we'll start out with something that may be a bit of a refresher for some of you, maybe new to others, but the idea of the comprehensive plan in general. So there are a number of different planning initiatives happening around Tampa, countless ones. I'm sure you see a number of them around the city in your neighborhood. The comprehensive plan is really the overarching umbrella policy plan for the entire city. It is long range in nature, and it sets a vision and a goal and goals for the city's future and what its residents would like to see. It includes policies and maps that help to guide decisions about development, infrastructure, and preservation. And it also contains different sections or elements. Those are those different elements describe topics that affect many aspects of day-to-day life in a community, things like land use, parks, solid waste, infrastructure, mobility, and the topic for this evening, which is water. There is a consistency requirement. It's required that private development, the different planning initiatives and projects and regulatory documents be consistent with the comprehensive plan. And comprehensive plans are required for all local governments in Florida. So every city and county is required to have a comprehensive plan. And those plans are also required to be updated on a regular basis. So every community in Florida will have this overarching policy document and then update it every few years. And that's where we are now in the process. The 2045 update is underway. We're taking a phased approach to this update. We find that that is very beneficial because it enables us to have a great deal of community engagement, enables us to meet with residents and make sure that we're getting good feedback and input on all of the sections. Next slide. And so as I mentioned, we're updating the comprehensive plan in phases. The first phase, we just were out in the community for several months getting inputs and community direction on the vision. That vision was just approved by Tampa City Council back in late July. Then we're moving, now we're in the process of the update to the water-related sections of the comprehensive plan. That is, of course, One Water. We then will be moving to the mobility section update in the wintertime of next year. And then in spring next year, we have a consultant that is looking at our future land use section and providing some expert guidance as to how those updates will take shape. We also want to mention that because there will be some additional meetings in the community on the future land use assessment. So we want to let folks know that those meetings are happening. That can be found at Live, Grow, Thrive 2045. Those meetings will start in September. So we also want to make sure that we're getting good feedback and input on that section as well. Next slide, please. And so this is the recently adopted Tampa Comprehensive Plan Update Vision. This was a result of months of community engagement and attending different neighborhood meetings, attending different stakeholder group meetings, and really hearing consensus from city residents about what they would like the future to be in 2045. So ultimately, we heard from around 800 individual respondents to the vision survey, and the areas of commonality crystallized around central vision statement and then 9 vision themes. And these vision themes really represent the broad nature of comprehensive planning within the community. As you'll see, there's everything from neighborhoods to resiliency to housing. And we want to use this vision throughout the comprehensive planning process. It's something that was really community driven and community led. And so we're using it as a starting point as we work to update the individual sections. Next slide, please. And while all of the vision components are related in some way to water, we believe that the following vision themes are probably the most closely related and ways that this portion of the comprehensive plan can work to move forward the vision. Again, we want the whole comprehensive plan to move forward the vision, and these are the first areas that we think will be able to be implemented, at least in part, by this section. So the 4 bullets on the left, those represent vision themes from the vision, and those are the ones that are related to water. I'll share that the first bullet, which is all about the natural environment and water resources and protecting those and other environmental attributes, that was the vision theme that was ranked the highest by the community. That's something that community residents felt was most important for the future. And so that's one of the reasons why we are starting out with the water section. That's what we heard from the community was paramount. Other aspects of the vision that will be moved forward as part of the One Water section will be efficient use of land and resources and reliable and connected infrastructure. Also resiliency and mitigation of climate change and extreme weather. And then importantly, that all residents have equitable access to a high quality of life and opportunity, regardless of background. Next slide, please. And I'll just quickly share a few of the comments that we received in the vision. We got really great, robust comments from folks across the city, about 1,500 in all. They're all up on our website at livegrowthrive2045.com. But these are a sample of a few of the types of comments that we were hearing about water. Speaking to adequate and safe drinking water, maintaining our environment and ecosystems, ensuring that the natural environment, which is part of the city's identity, is protected, clean air and water, and improvements in infrastructure. Next slide, please. And so now we'll move into a little more of the meat for the topic this evening, which is an overview of the One Water chapter. That is One Water Comprehensive Planning for Water Resources. So starting out with where we are today, the last time that the comprehensive plan was updated in a substantive fashion was back in 2016. And that update was really focused on items that were kind of tweaks and quick fixes, and much of the water resources related language within the plan is actually a much older. It dates back to some of the prior legislation that controlled comprehensive planning. So folks in this meeting might remember 9J5. A lot of the language dates back to that time. So it is a little long in the tooth and in need of a bit of a refresh. And right now within the comprehensive plan, we have separate and distinct sections for stormwater management, wastewater, and potable water. Those are all separate. In full candor, they operate in a little bit of a silo within the comprehensive plan. They're not necessarily working in a way that is rowing in the same direction. They're not connected in terms of moving city objectives forward. And then we have water resources related language that's found in various other sections of the plan, places like the environmental section, the future land use section. And so One Water is the update is intended to update and combine these sections and also incorporate water resources related language from throughout the plan. We hope that the One Water chapter is designed in a way that it reflects the interrelated nature of water and provides a nice framework for holistic water resources planning across the city. This is something that we're seeing as planners as a best practice and a growing trend in water resources planning. Many communities across the United States are looking at water more holistically in their planning documents. And we know One Water can mean different things in different contexts. In this context, it's intended to be looking holistically at water across a comprehensive plan. And we hope that the way that it's laid out in the draft will accomplish that. Next slide. And we also wanted to share that this approach to comprehensive planning is also happening locally here in Hillsborough County. Our team recently worked with unincorporated Hillsborough County staff to update their comprehensive plan, and we utilized a similar approach to looking at water resources within that comprehensive plan. That approach really received quite a bit of recognition in terms of consideration as a best practice. It was utilized as a case study, recognized for different awards, and really considered to be at the forefront of looking at water and comprehensive planning. The residents of Hillsborough County, the community in Hillsborough County, found that the One Water chapter really worked well for a variety of different initiatives. Green Infrastructure Technical Manual is one example. septic to sewer conversions, the development of a new campus in South County that reorganized and regrouped water resources staff for more collaboration. So they're still in the early phases of implementation, but seeing a lot of success in looking at water holistically and looking at different aspects of water together. There is a nice Bay Sounding article that also summarizes this. And we wanted to point out Hillsborough County's plan because we wanted to use it as another example of comprehensive planning connecting water and traditional comprehensive planning in the local area. Those who are on the call that were also stakeholders during the Hillsborough County process will see that there are some similarities between the two plans. There were some components that we felt were appropriate to have in both jurisdictions, so that you will notice some things that are quite similar. But we also wanted to make this unique for Tampa's comprehensive plan update, and so you'll see that there are some things that are specific to Tampa as well. Next slide, please. And so now we'll go into the concepts within the Tampa One Water chapter. So there's a mix of existing and new language. I know I talked earlier about the long and the tooth language. It still has some very good bones. There's some good existing language today, and we want to make sure that the update retains that language. So there's some updates related to all aspects of water in potable, wastewater, stormwater, and natural systems. There are also some new concepts that we're introducing into the comprehensive plan. Those include resiliency, green infrastructure and low impact development, equity and inclusion with respect to infrastructure, and coordinating water with other types of planning. We've also worked to strengthen and streamline those existing concepts, that are important, such as environmental protection, coordinated and integrated water resources planning, stormwater and flood protection, water conservation and water reuse, and infrastructure maintenance. Those are all topics that exist within the Tampa Comprehensive Plan today. And we wanted to take a look at those concepts, ensure that they were clear and streamlined, and so they've been updated and modernized with this update. Next slide. And so within the plan, there are 5 goals for the new One Water chapter. They're summarized here on the screen. They really represent the broad nature of water within the comprehensive plan. So I'll just quickly run through them. The first one is about protecting, enhancing, and sustaining our water resources. We have a goal about sustainable and equitable infrastructure. A third goal about enhancing and strengthening water conservation, a fourth goal about integrated or connected water resources management, and a fifth goal about how to connect or link water with other aspects of planning, such as land use or mobility. Next slide. So if we think about the goals as the broadest component of the comprehensive plan, the really overarching framework to a very broad and overarching document, then we have the objectives, which is kind of the next level down in terms of specificity. And so we have summarized the objectives here on the screen. This is the first screen that I'll show of objectives. These are intended to bridge between the goals and the policies. And so you can see they get to an increasing level of specificity. They're about protecting and improving water resources through a robust regulatory framework and collaboration with other agencies, protecting surface water and groundwater for future use in natural systems, ensuring water resources and infrastructure are sustainable, inclusive, and equitable, coordination with different water resources partners, and resiliency strategies that meet water supply and wastewater and all kinds of water resources needs in a changing climate. Next slide, please. And the objectives continue, starting with water conservation and looking for ways to continue and enhance water conservation for both potable and non-potable uses, implementing coordinated water resource management programs across departments, using a multifaceted approach through those departments to match the right resource to the right use, coordinating water planning with other types of planning, and incorporating green infrastructure and LID in both public projects and in private development. Next slide, please. And we also wanted to talk a little bit about implementation of the comprehensive plan and One Water. There are a variety of different ways that One Water and the overall comprehensive plan are implemented. In some cases, the comprehensive plan language stands on its own. It's something that is utilized by our staff in rezoning consistency findings, in the review of the CIP every year. And so in some cases, the provisions stand on their own. In other cases, the specifics of implementation happen through various different means. Regulations and ordinances, such as the Land Development Code or the technical manuals, education and outreach, particularly for things like water conservation, the capital improvements program, which is something that the city develops each year as part of the budgeting process for major projects, or other programmatic elements. And that's pretty broad. It could be things like new staff working groups, new coordinated efforts with other agencies. And so there's really a variety of different ways that, that this chapter and the rest of the comprehensive plan will be implemented. Next slide, please. And so we also wanted to make sure everyone on this call knew where to find additional information about this portion of the update. We have everything in kind of a one-stop shop on a project page. That's again at planhillsboro.org/Tampa1Water. I think Diego even created a QR code down there at the bottom. So if you want to use your phone, you can use that to access the project page. That project page will contain everything related to what's happening with this portion of the plan update, as we add the things like maps that are required by statutory, the statutory requirements. Those will go up here. Updated drafts as they become available. We will also have crosswalks that will show a side-by-side comparison of the currently adopted language with the proposed language. There will be links to other documents, information on upcoming meetings, this presentation and others, and a place, most importantly, where you can submit comments and questions. Next slide. And a quick overview of where we are in the process on this portion of the update. This is the kickoff this evening with our virtual public meeting. We're going to be having a second public meeting on October 4th to answer any other questions that folks may think of, or if folks missed tonight and want to hop on and answer a question, that'll be another opportunity. We'll be closing the public comment period so that we can work on revising the drafts on October 9th. On October 10th, we'll be going to the Planning Commission with an initial draft and an introduction to the amendment. That's typically how we have updated these different sections in the past, is through an introduction at the briefing, and then an updated draft incorporating public comment for the public hearing. So that public hearing will take place before the Planning Commission on November 7th. Then December 8th, we'll be going before Tampa City Council for a transmittal public hearing. We'll then go up to DEO, the Department of Economic Opportunity, for their distribution for state and regional agency review, and then come back in spring of 2023 for final adoption. Next slide, please. And again, we would ask that you submit any comments or feedback or questions through our website. That's the best way to make sure that all of us on the project team are notified about any comments. There's a form that's located about halfway down the web page. We'll also be including all comments received in the packets that go to the elected and appointed officials. So this is a great way to make sure that that your voice is heard on this project and that everyone on the project team sees it right away. And again, the time frame that we're asking for comments by is October 9th. And next slide, Diego. Wanted to share briefly our points of contact. If you'd like us to come and share this project with your group and where we are, we're happy to do so. You can reach out. We want to make sure we're talking to as many people as possible across the city during this process, so please don't hesitate to contact us if you have a group or an entity that you think would be interested in this. Next slide, please. And I think this concludes the formal presentation portion of this evening. So again, thanks so much everyone for being here. I'll turn it over to Caroline and she'll share again how you can ask questions. And I think we had a question come in over email already as well. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you, Melissa. So we'll move into the Q&A portion now. We're excited to hear everybody's feedback and answer any questions you have. Just a reminder that you can either type your question or comment into the question box, or if you'd like to speak, you can just click on the raise hand button and we'll unmute you. So the first question Melissa alluded to, we got via our website. So we'll do that one first. If you could describe how One Water will be enforced and funded.
Sure, that's a great question. So the comprehensive plan, as I mentioned earlier, it's very broad and overarching. It's something that is intended to be long range, looking out to 2045. So in some cases, implementation will occur right away. In some cases, it's intended to occur a little later in the time horizon. I think I may have touched on this during the presentation, but in some cases, the policy language itself serves as implementation. A lot of times there's another regulatory document like the Land Development Code that helps to implement it. And then it can also be implemented through programmatic initiatives, the CIP, and other different city initiatives.
Excellent. Okay, and then we did get one question in the chat asking how many folks attended this meeting. As of right now, we have 22 attendees, but a minute ago I did see 23. So 23 was the top number that we had attend this evening.
And for folks, I'll just add, if folks missed this meeting, we are going to record it. Or it is being recorded. Caroline mentioned that at the beginning for folks who logged on a bit late. So you can send it to people who may be interested and missed this meeting. That's another great way to get the word out.
Okay. Seeing any other questions in the chat and the raised hands. Oh, okay, we got one more question here. When will the first draft language of this section become available?
Yeah, it is available today on our website. If you go to planhillsborough.org/onewater, it's about halfway down the project page. You can see a little button that says View Draft Language. We've had it up for a couple weeks, so definitely want to make sure that folks are seeing it and providing their comments on it. Thanks, Diego.
Okay, our next question asks, can you discuss the relationship to sustainability plans, sustainability action plan for Hillsborough County, still pending, and for Tampa?
Yeah, well, I can talk generally, and I think we have Whit Reamer on here as well, who might be able to give a little more detail. So this is for specifically the city of Tampa, the comprehensive plan for the city of Tampa. So unincorporated Hillsborough County is something that has a little bit of a different structure in terms of their governance and implementation. I'll say generally from a comprehensive planning perspective, there is quite a bit in here that speaks to sustainability. Not only kind of the traditional regulatory structure of sustainability, but also, new ways of looking at being sustainable, different ways to enhance water conservation, different ways to look at green and blue infrastructure, and maybe less of the kind of ponds and pipes infrastructure, but things that are working with nature to develop water solutions. So that's kind of from a comprehensive planning perspective. How those two things are linked. And I'd be happy to walk through if someone would like to reach out separately, the different aspects that speak to that too.
Great. Seeing any other questions? Let me look at the raised hands. See any other raised hands at the moment? Just give it one more minute.
Sure. And Caroline, do you want to just give a refresher typing where people type it? And
yeah, so again, it should be on the right hand side of your screen. There should be a question box. If you just type right in there, we'll get your question and read it. Or there's a little raised hand button. Again, you can click that and we'll unmute you if you'd like to speak as well. Okay, we got another question asking what platform was used for the survey?
Oh, the survey was done on SurveyMonkey. That was something that was sent out to as many people as possible through as many channels as possible. That we sent it out on social media, through traditional media, meetings in the community. But that survey took place from, I believe, February to June of 2022, and was in SurveyMonkey. I'll also share, if anyone's interested, the full survey results are on the Live, Grow, Thrive 2045 webpage. So you can see all 1,500 comments that we got, and peruse those there as well.
That looks like that's the final question, but we can give it one more minute just to make sure nobody's typing at the moment. Not seeing any other raised hands. Oh, okay, we got one more question. Okay, it says recently EPA significantly decreased the permissible concentration levels for PFOS and PFAS. Is this plan capable of flexibility when such regulatory changes occur?
That is a great question. I am not well versed in the technical scientific aspects of that. I don't know if we have anyone online from the city who is a technical expert that might be able to weigh in. If not, we can take that question and email it out and get an answer for you. Unfortunately, the plan is very flexible, but I unfortunately just don't know enough about those specific attributes to answer.
Okay, she says thank you for that answer.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have one raised hand, McLean Evans. I'm going to. You should be able to speak.
Hi, this is McLean Evans, Assistant City Attorney for City of Tampa. Regarding that last question, the comp plan language last time I saw the draft. I apologize, I haven't looked at it today, but I don't think it's changed since I last looked at it. Is broad enough that once there are regulatory standards in place for PFAS and PFOA, just like all the other regulatory standards that the city has to comply with, they will have to comply with those also.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Moment. Looks, oh, okay. We've got one more question. Says, does this element explicitly encourage certain types of development?
So this particular portion of the comprehensive plan doesn't speak really to development in terms of housing or land use or commercial. Those aspects of the comprehensive plan are primarily handled through our future land use section or element. So if that's something that you're interested in, would encourage you to go to the Live, Grow, Thrive 2045.com webpage. And on there, we'll have a link to our future land use assessment public meeting. So that'll be a great place for you to find out a little bit more about our future land use section and share ways or share your input on that particular topic. But that's really handled in other portions of the comp plan.
Okay, another question asking what organizations participated in the plan development?
Sure. So the plan was developed by the Planning Commission. Our staff worked on it. We looked at the input in on the vision, developed the draft language. We also coordinated with City of Tampa staff and various city departments. So the city is really the lead on the implementation side, things like the zoning code, things like technical manuals. And so we wanted to make sure that the comprehensive plan was implementable. We also sent the draft out to all of the different agencies, both state, regional, and local that are involved in some way with water resources planning. So the Water Management District, Tampa Bay Water, EPC, DEP, the Regional Planning Council, Tampa Bay Estuary Program, DEO. We wanted to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to comment on the language. And so as we get any comments from our regulatory agencies or those other planning agencies, we'll certainly be updating the draft.
Another couple minutes, see if any more questions come in. Other raised hands at the moment. Follow up to the previous question. She said, I'm thinking of organizations such as Friends of the River, etc.
Yeah, so we typically have in the update to the comprehensive plans, we definitely want to have as much stakeholder input and involvement. So we would love to get Friends of the River's input on this. We are going to be having a second virtual public meeting. I believe we're also going to be trying to coordinate with the River Board TAC and see if we can get on their agenda. So certainly if you know someone at Friends of the River that would like to have us come and present this, we would welcome that.
She says thank you. Any other questions from our attendees? Feel free to put those in the chat or raise your hand. We'll give it another couple minutes here. All right. That looks like all the questions that I'm seeing on my end. Melissa, do you see if I'm missing anybody?
So
That's everybody.
unfortunately, I somehow closed that window. So I'll ask Diego to tell you. Unfortunately, I can't see that window right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was everybody. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone.
Yeah, there aren't any more questions or hands raised.
Okay. Right. Are we good to wrap it up?
I think so. Caroline, you want to give some closing comments?
Absolutely, yes. This will conclude the virtual public meeting. Thank you guys all so much for your participation. We really appreciate all of your comments and questions. As a reminder, you can visit the project page to read through the draft language and submit any additional public comments that you think of later through the submission form on the project page through October 9th. So again, thank you all so much for attending, and we hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, everyone.